Hi, Caleb with Brownells here. Today we're going to be taking a look at cartridges, specifically the nomenclature of them and what each component means. So whether you're new to shooting, new to reloading, or just need a quick refresher, we're going to go ahead and cover those. Let's get started. Starting with the projectiles, now we're not going to cover all the different types, but we're going to cover the two most common. So if you'll notice here at the back of this bullet, rather than being flat, it tapers. That's known as the boat tail. And of course the flat is just simply the flat base. Now the curvature at the top of the bullet, that's known as the ogive. Now if you're going to be measuring, especially if you're doing reloading, if you're going to be measuring your projectile length for consistencies, or if you're going to be measuring your cartridge overall length, you'll want to take the measurement off of that ogive because that's going to be much more consistent than taking the measurement from the tip of the projectile. So when talking about the cartridge itself is just that. It's all of the components that make up the loaded round. You have your projectile, you have the case, you have your primer, and you have your powder as the propellant. Now, when speaking of this, we're going to take this 44 mag for example. This is what's known as a rimmed cartridge, and that is because it has a rim. The rim is going to stick out further than the diameter of the case itself. And that's where this round's going to headspace off of, the rim. So the headspace of the chamber itself, that's what's going to stop the forward movement of the cartridge once it's loaded into the chamber. And that's how you measure your headspace. Moving on to another round here, this cartridge is the 350 Legend. As you'll notice, this one is not rimmed. This is what's called non-rimmed. So the rim on this one is actually the same diameter as the case diameter. And the reason they did it this way is so that it can feed more reliably from AR-15 magazines and be chambered and work just fine in the AR-15. Now moving on from the straight wall cartridges to bottleneck cases. This is one that's bottlenecked and rimmed, and this is the 30-30 Winchester. This one actually headspaces off of the rim, whereas a lot of bottleneck cartridges actually headspace off of the shoulder of the bottleneck. And let's talk about the shoulder. The shoulder is where the transition area from where the case body tapers into the neck. So you're going to have your case body, your shoulder, and then the smaller diameter is going to be the neck. So moving on to bottleneck cartridges. This is the 30-30 Winchester. Now, a bottleneck cartridge consists of the case body, then you have where it tapers down, which is known as the shoulder, and then this smaller diameter extension here where the bullet seats, that's going to be the neck. And also, on all of these here, all of these cartridges, the area of the case where the bullet actually seats in is called the mouth of the case. Now, as you can see here, this one is rimmed, and it's also bottleneck. Unlike most bottleneck cartridges, this one headspaces off of the rim rather than the shoulder, and we'll get into that with the very common 308 Winchester. As you can see, this one's rimless. The rim is the same diameter of the case body, and it's going to headspace off of the shoulder. So moving on to another rim type is going to be the recessed rim. On this 6.5 284, the rim is slightly smaller than the case diameter, so it'll fit on a 30-06 bolt face, which is a little bit smaller than what this case diameter is. There's also a semi-rimmed for going the other way around whenever you want a smaller case diameter to fit on a larger bolt face. The last type we're going to cover is the popular belted magnum. Now, as you'll notice, this is a bottleneck cartridge, but it doesn't headspace off the shoulder. It's going to headspace off of this belt back here. Now, the belted magnum was invented by Holland & Holland, and the reason they put belts on them is because a lot of those big game rifles had pretty generous chambers, and it was hard to headspace off the shoulder on those. So that's why the belted magnum came into existence, and it's been quite popular ever since. Now, if you have any questions on these or you'd like to add anything to it, feel free to leave us a comment below or give us a call on the tech line. We'll be happy to help you out. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.